Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Joe's Tech. Today, I thought maybe we could take a look at that Corsair RM1000X power supply that I purchased a couple weeks back. Finally show you guys my method for cable sleeving, and also show you some of the issues that I ran into. So, let's get into it. Alright guys, first and foremost, you need to have a cable sleeving material. For this cable sleeving, we're going to be using the Telios material from MainFrame Customs. You also need a heat shrink material for your cable sleeving, so we have that. We're going to be using a staple, just a heavy duty like furniture staple. I believe you can use regular house staples or office staples as well, but we're going to be using this to remove the pins from the extensions. If you have access to one, you can also use a pin removal tool like this. In this case, I tried using this and the staple just seemed to be easier, so I figured for the tutorial I would use a staple since that's probably more easily accessible for most people. You're going to need a lighter, preferably one with a standard flame like this. You can use a hand lighter or you can use one of these extension lighters, whatever is easy. Just make sure it has a regular flame. If you use a lighter like this, if you can even see that, that has like a torch flame, it probably won't work. I tried using one of these for a couple extensions in a test, and they just ended up melting or not heating evenly, so I would avoid that. Cable combs are going to be something good to keep everything organized. You know, these really aren't necessary, but they definitely make things look neater, so you're going to need those. Electrical tape. You're going to need some cutters in case you have to cut any of the wires off. We're also going to be using this to cut the heat shrink material. But I mean, you obviously don't have to have fancy cutters for that, but they're good to have. Just to give you an idea of what we're trying to do here, we're trying to basically sleeve our power supply cables to look like this. I have the black, a white, and a set of carbon fiber, and then another set of black on the end there. That's what we're trying to make for this tutorial. So rather than doing another 8-pin CPU connection like I did for that extension, I'm going to be doing a 8-pin or 6-pin if you have a 6-pin, but this is what I'm going to be doing for this video. I think it's going to be a little more challenging, which is fine. One thing I would like to note is that basically this part of the extension here is kind of like useless for me, so I only have one 8-pin connection on my video card, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut these guys off, and we're just going to do power supply side to the video card side, and we're going to just forget about this extra extension. You have to be careful, because if for some reason you think you're going to be adding a card or you're going to be buying a card that's going to require 2 8-pins, you don't want to cut this off obviously, so that's going to be a different story, but just keep that in mind. So another thing I wanted to note really quickly is you can see this side is the part that's going to go into the power supply, and this side is going to go into the video card. And you can see there's kind of a lump here, and basically what's going on there is there's a capacitor tied into the leads here, and those are to prevent ripple. And so ripple is basically a fluctuation in power. Now from what I'm reading on Corsair's website, if you take this out or you have it in there, it's still within a reasonable number. Obviously having it in there makes it better, but I don't think it's really going to be necessary for me, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut that out, and I'll show you guys that in a minute here. So what we're going to try to do now is cut all this sleeving off and see what's underneath. Obviously if you're concerned about voiding your warranty, then you probably shouldn't be doing this in the first place, so just a heads up. we go. Alright guys, so we removed the jacket off the extension here, and you can see the little capacitor there that I was mentioning earlier. We're just going to go ahead and remove that. We don't need it for this power supply. All it kind of does is act as like a mini power line conditioner, but the current on the power supply here is already pretty reasonable, so from what I'm reading from Corsair, not really necessary. And I'll go ahead and put a link to the article I found so you guys can read up on that also. And when you cut it off, you just want to get as close as you can down there so you don't have stuff hanging off the power supply, or poking out of the wires, I should say. So we're going to clip that there, and we'll clip it here, and that's it. So you obviously can't have this guy hanging out like this. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take a little bit of electrical tape. We're just going to take a small piece. What we're going to do is we're going to take our pin removal tool, aka the staple. This ought to be interesting because I haven't pulled one of these out with two connections in it yet. But you should be able to just slip it into that pin there on each side. And you want to press it in firmly. And then in theory it should come out. Which it did. Alright. So just to get this out of the way for now, I'm going to just cut this guy off, just so I can access this wire. And as I'm pulling these out, I'm just going to do them one by one. I'm going to pull the cable out, sleeve it, and then put it back, and that way I don't confuse which ones I have and haven't taken out. Alright guys, so now that we have our piece of wire out of the extension, we're going to want to cut this short piece off, so we just want to cut that off as high as we can. So what we're going to want to do here to measure this sleeving out is we want to line up the sleeving with the first set of winglets here, and we'll just kind of slowly feed this through. Don't put too much pressure on the sleeving because it is stretchy, and we'll just kind of go down the line here. And then I actually use a little bit of extra just because I've had a couple instances where I was short and I'd rather have a little extra sleeving than not enough. For this set of wire, we have the thicker side and then we have the thinner side, and that's because if you remember a minute ago, we cut this small piece of wire off. So let's move that out of the way. So I'm going to feed the wire through using the thinner side. In order to get this in the jacketing, you should be able to just push it through. It should go pretty smooth. Just take your time and just slowly feed it. So now that we have our sleeving in, we need it to be down to this first set of wings again, right behind there. And we want to take a small piece of the heat shrink, cut that off, slip it over, and slip it right up to that first set of wings again. And then we just heat this guy up, let it get hot, kind of heat it evenly for a few seconds. Once it gets hot, then you're going to just gently press it down there. And once that's done, just clip a little piece of this off, and you should be able to peel it right off. That's it. Now it's adhered on there. So what's happening is the heat shrink is actually melting the sleeving to this metal post. And that's it. Now it's on there firm. So now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Take a piece of this sleeving, cut that off. Make sure this guy is nice and like close. So we'll slip this over. slip it over our sleeving material, and right behind that set of winglets there, heat it up nice and evenly. Should be it. Probably got a little too hot there. Press it down, and we'll clip this guy off here. There it goes, and that's it. Now it's on there nice and firm. As you can see, I kind of got a little ahead here before the video because I just wanted to make sure I give you guys a good view. But let's see if you can see this. The pins there are actually round towards the inside, and so I'm going to turn this guy the same way, and we're going to slip this side in, and then there you go. You'll hear it click into place, and that's it. Make sure you slip it through the cable combs before you plug it into the other end so you can organize everything accordingly. And again, we're going to look at the pins inside the adapter. You guys can see that. And the round is towards the inside again. So we're going to slip that in there. And there it goes. It clicked into place. And that's it. Alright guys, so that pretty much concludes my version of cable sleeving. If you want your cables to look like this and be all fancy and save a little money and not have somebody else do it, this is how you do it in my book. You know, if you guys have any questions about anything that I missed, please feel free to leave a comment below. Any feedback, always welcome as well. If you guys enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to hit the thumbs up on the way out. And if you guys would like to see more content from the channel, I'm going to be moving all this old hardware over to this new Phanteks Nth Evolved tempered glass case. Got to finish up this cable sleeving project. I can do that. We're going to be probably buying some more goodies, doing some more unboxings, doing some more reviews, and we're just going to kind of see where this goes. So if you guys enjoy it, make sure you hit subscribe, follow along. Until next time, this has been Joe's Tech. Have a good one.